When I think about this summit, I think it's been really profound. When you look at the people's faces, when you look at the commitment that people have put into this, it's really normalising learning opportunities across multi-jurisdictional boundaries and actually making them happen and doing it on a day-to-day basis and getting on with it. There was a lot of discussion around an idea. This is actually a reality, and it's going to be a reality that influences thoughts and thinking for many, many years.
This trip really gave me the knowledge, and through all this keynote speech and the discussion, I kind of understand why the differences happen. And for example, in China, we keep talking about autonomy, we keep talking about local government should be more transparent, should be caring about people more. But it's actually very difficult in China because the cities have levels and the bigger cities control the smaller cities, and they have more resources and money, while the small cities where our local government lies have fewer opportunities and money to do the project by themselves. So they rely on the big cities. While in Australia, cities are more independent. There is no big city and small cities. In this way, even it's a very small community, they can actually support themselves and they can actually fund their own project. So I think it's very important for ICMA and the city managers from Australia and Denmark and America to understand it's very difficult in China. Maybe the challenges are very similar, sustainability, productivity, but the situation in China, especially for city managers in smaller cities, it's very difficult.
My general impressions of the summit is that it was a wonderful opportunity for the members of our international committee to engage with local citizens as well as government officials in China. We found that many of the issues that we address are being addressed here in China in a much grander and massive scale. But I'm very impressed by the accomplishments of the Yangzhou government and the other local governments in the area, for the innovations that they've had and the quickness that they're able to achieve some of their objectives. I've learned too that we have similar concerns and objectives in sustainability that we can partner to work on together in the future.
I was completely overwhelmed by the level of hospitality and organization that was put into the summit. I think the summit opened many doors to personal collaborations and establishing contacts on a professional and personal level. And the urbanization and economic development in China these days is completely overwhelming. It was incredible to see the speed, how fast decisions were made, and something that you would never see in the United States to this scale and this extent.
So I'm first and foremost very grateful to have been able to attend this summit. The host city, Yangzhou, has been incredibly gracious, and I've just really enjoyed getting to know my colleagues a little better. When you travel with someone, you learn a lot about them, and the friendships that I've made here will last for most of my career, and I will now have colleagues throughout the world and the United States that I'll be able to call on for advice and just to have a friend to call on.
A wonderful lesson from visiting China is the way they've embraced the history and culture with modern economic development. In Australia, we have 40,000 years of history through our Indigenous residents, and we can really learn from China in learning from that and embracing it as part of, particularly in the tourism space. In terms of relations built and contacts made, it's been a great chance to talk to some professors at Chinese universities to talk about setting up global minimum standards, and that's a space that'll be exciting and hopefully part of the future learnings around the world as each country learns from each other more and reduces duplication and improves productivity.
that we need to listen to one another and expand the exchange of information across countries. We've learned from our colleagues in Denmark and in Holland that they have really gone down the road over the last 40 years on sustainable issues, and so I think that we can benefit a lot from what they have to teach us and how we can do things better and maybe catch up a little bit where in North America we may be behind in some aspects of energy efficiency and sustainable development.